Randy dragged into his house, tired and hungry. He looked around hopefully, but nothing had changed. No duffel bag on the floor, and no smell of his dad's spaghetti bubbling on the stove. Randy was so disappointed he felt ill. He was sick of thinking about the Tollivers, sick of homework assignments, and sick of coming home to an empty house. "Where are you, Dad?" Randy said to the walls. "And why haven't you called?" He threw himself on the sofa, but did not turn on the television this time. "No telling who I'll see on there," he muttered. The cat jumped on the sofa, looking for bologna or whatever leftovers Randy might offer, but seeing nothing, she curled up on Randy's chest and looked at him with bright, unblinking eyes. As the cat purred on his chest, Randy stroked her back and sighed as he thought about his situation. His money was getting tight. His dad had given him $50 when he left and reminded Randy about the $400 they kept hidden in the shoebox in the bottom of the closet for emergencies. Randy couldn't believe that the rent and the phone bill had eaten up most of the money already, and he knew he didn't have enough left to pay the electric bill. At least the days were getting longer. The cat made a small, careless mewing sound. Randy did some quick calculations and figured he had enough for one more trip to the grocery store. "We may have to cut back on cat food," he said, grinning as he rubbed the cat's head. The cat stirred as if she understood. Randy sighed again as he tried to fight the clammy feeling of fear that crept over him. He couldn't stop thinking that something was wrong, really wrong. His father hadn't called in over a month. He always kept his cell phone on, but when Randy called, all he heard were dull, continuous, unanswered rings. Randy kept hoping every day he came home he'd find his dad sitting on the sofa, but instead he was greeted each day by the silent walls. He'd never been gone this long before. Randy knew he probably ought to call the police, but he was afraid he might get his dad in trouble for leaving Randy by himself. What if they put him in foster care? That's what happened to kids who were left alone. But Randy had no intention of being treated like a kid. He could take care of himself. His dad had always told him to trust his instincts, but right now he didn't even know what his instincts were, except that he was scared. He shifted his weight on the sofa and the cat jumped off Randy's chest to the coffee table. "Where is he, Cat?" At that moment the phone rang, startling Randy. He jumped to reach for it while the cat leaped deftly to the floor, annoyed at the sudden movement. "Dad?" Randy said hopefully. Delia's laughter sparkled softly on the line. "Sorry, Randy, it's just me." "You're expecting a call from your dad?" "Yeah, he'll probably call tonight, though. What's up?" "I just called to see what you wanted to do about that English project. You got any ideas?" "Nah, not yet." "What about you?" "I got a couple of things rolling around in my head. Maybe we can—" "Hey, my mom is calling me to go to the grocery store with her, so can I call you later tonight?" "Sure thing. After I eat, my brain works better anyway. Catch you later." "Bye." Randy hung up the phone. "I sure wish I could have asked her to bring me stuff from the grocery store," he thought as he opened the last can of cat food. The cat, fully absorbed in the turning can and the smell coming from it, nearly knocked it out of Randy's hand as he placed it on the floor. "I guess I'd better go to the store myself," he decided. He stuffed the last of the money into his coat pocket and headed down the street to the corner market. Prices were higher there than at the big supermarket near the mall, but this was quick and easy. Even though he shopped slowly and carefully and checked prices on every box and can, Randy knew that the small assortment of food in his cart was all he could afford. He sighed as he unpacked the cart and watched the electronic scanner register the price of each item. He paid for his groceries, counted the money very carefully, and double-checked his change. He had put back a couple of boxes of cereal and a six-pack of soda at the last minute, so he wouldn't be completely broke. In his pocket, he had $17 left. No more hidden emergency money. Just $17. And all of the groceries fit into 2 brown bags. When he got home, he fixed himself a can of soup and 3 hot dogs. It was filling, but he knew he'd be hungry again before he went to bed. "Dad will come home soon," he told himself. "Then we'll go out to dinner and get us 2 of the biggest steaks on the menu, maybe even 3, one for the cat." He called Delia then. hoping he would hear the little interrupting beeping sound that indicated there was another call on the line, a call from his dad. Delia sounded glad to hear from him. "You finished dinner?" he asked. "Yeah, me and my mom were both hungry when we shopped, so we got all kinds of goodies that she usually doesn't buy. We had a huge dinner and even a pie for dessert." "Sounds great," Randy said with a little envy. "Did you hear from your dad yet?" Delia asked. Randy hesitated and considered telling her everything, but he could see nothing but trouble if he did. Besides, he had enough food to last for another week or so, if he was careful, and he was sure his dad would be back before then. So he said, yeah, he did. I talked to him just a few minutes ago. He'll be home soon." "That's good, Randy. If you ever need anything, you know you can call me. You told me the other day you'd protect me from the Tollivers, and I appreciate that. I doubt if I can be much protection to you as big as you are, but you just understand you can call me if things get rough. You got that?" Randy could hear Delia let out a deep breath. "I gotcha," Randy replied softly. He didn't want Delia to know how much her offer meant to him, so he changed the subject as well as his tone. "Now what are we going to do about this stupid English project?" "Well, in class we talked about a skit. I thought we could do something that shows how fear can take over a school. You know, like one of those schools they show on the TV specials." "Sounds a little too real," Randy said, sighing. "Everybody at school is so jumpy." "Maybe we should do something funny instead," he suggested. "Good idea. How about if everybody at school believes they're about to be invaded by Martians? We can ask Yolanda to do the research. She's probably been to Mars 3 or 4 times." Randy laughed. "How about if the kids at this school in our skit are afraid of being taken to Mars to be dissected?" Delia offered. "Yeah, and somebody says there are lists going around the school with names of kids who are about to be shipped out. Of course, nobody has seen any list. For that matter, nobody has seen any Martians," Randy added. "It's all based on fear and rumors." "I think this is going to be good, Randy," Delia said. "It'll be fun to do, too." "I wonder what the Tollivers will do for their project," Randy mused. "Something scary, I'm sure," Delia replied. "Hey, my other line is beeping. I gotta go." "At least we got something to tell Miss Benson tomorrow. Catch you later." Delia hung up, and Randy sat on the sofa in the silence of the small apartment. His stomach growled a little, but he ignored it and stared at the phone, hoping it would ring once more with his dad on the other end. But the phone, like the rest of the apartment, was silent. Randy leaned back then, trying not to think of what might have happened to his father, and dozed a little. The ringing of the phone startled him awake, and when he sat up, he grabbed the phone on the second ring. "Hello?" Randy said hopefully into the receiver. "Winston Youngblood, please," said a voice that was so artificial sounding it might have been a computer. "He's not available at this moment," Randy replied. "May I help you?" "This is Miss Epsy from the Cincinnati Gas and Electric Company. We were wondering if the payment for your heat and light has been made recently. We show that the last payment was over 6 weeks ago." Randy couldn't believe that a bill collector was calling this late in the evening. Then he figured that was the only time they could be sure to catch people. "I mailed that check yesterday," Randy lied smoothly. "I sound like Yolanda." "You should have it by tomorrow, or the next day at the very latest," Randy added. "I will make a note of that," the computer-sounding Miss Epsy replied. She has probably heard such lies so many times before, Randy thought. And she probably didn't believe him. But Randy didn't care. He had bought himself a little time, and his dad would probably be home by morning. At least he hoped so. Randy finished his homework, turned off all the lights, and slid his large frame into bed. He listened to his alarm clock ticking and water dripping in the sink. The cat jumped onto the bed when Randy was almost asleep. She curled up into a tight ball at his feet. Randy didn't even try to kick her off. Randy fell asleep slowly. He thought of his dad and how close they had become. He tried not to let the negative thoughts drift into his mind, but visions of his father hurt or bleeding or even dead kept slicing into the images in his mind. Randy pulled his covers up around his neck, but it didn't help. He was afraid.